Again, here's Curry for the record. It's good! There it is! Stephen Curry, the all-time three-point king of the NBA.
Hey guys, Emmanuel here, and we finally have our NBA Finals matchup. First of all, before we go any further, can we just take a minute to appreciate the fact that we got a Warriors versus Celtics NBA Finals? Like, no offense to the Heat, right? And no offense to the Miami fans, but Warriors versus Celtics is an infinitely better matchup than Warriors versus Heat. And that's not a slight to the Miami Heat. I was hoping for a Celtics to win anyways. But yeah, let's jump into this. This is going to be my predictions for this finals, what you can expect, who's going to win. Yeah, let's jump into it. So we've got Warriors versus Celtics, right? The Warriors won 53 games this year and the Celtics won 51. So that means that the Warriors are going to have home court advantage, right? And home court is going to play a big role in this series for both teams. And speaking of home court, let's talk about the home crowd of both teams. The Celtics and the Warriors play incredibly well when they play at home in front of their crowds, right? But I'm going to have to give it to the Warriors in terms of which crowd is better, because in my opinion, and this is no offense to the Boston Celtics fans, right? We know just how crazy the Boston Celtics fans can be. We know just how crazy any Boston sports crowd is. I mean, have you seen Red Sox fans? And don't even get me started on the Patriots fans, but I'm gonna have to give it to the Warriors, right? Because I think their crowd is more electrifying and their crowd has a more symbiotic relationship with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, which allows them to do something that you don't really see in any other arena or with any other team. And I'm talking about when Steph Curry or Klay Thompson gets going, when they're knocking down threes, the Warrior crowd, they get into it. You start to hear Warriors, Warriors chant, and before you know it, you're down by like 20 because Steph just fed into that energy and he chucked up 3 shots and he made all of them, and Klay Thompson got it now going, and before you know it, you're down, right? And this always happens to teams that play in San Francisco in the third quarter. They put up a good fight, but then by the third quarter, right, when the Warrior fans get into it and Steph is feeding off of the crowd and the crowd is feeding off of Steph, you practically lost the game. So I'm gonna have to give the advantage to home court to the Warriors. Also speaking, Game 7 will be in San Francisco if it comes down to it, and that's going to be very important, right? So, but I'm going to have to give that advantage to the Warriors. They have home court advantage, and that's a factor that's going to play a big role in this series. How loud that crowd gets, I think an inexperienced young team like Boston, I don't think they're going to be ready for that at all. I mean, the pressure on them already is crushing, right? The pressure is crushing, and now to go into the Lions Den, which is San Francisco, the Chase Center, and look and see a sea of yellow chanting against that plays with you psychologically. So that's going to be a disadvantage for them. But don't worry. One advantage that the Celtics have over the Warriors is the fact that, in my opinion, the Boston Celtics are a better defensive team than the Warriors are. Yes, you heard that right. The Celtics have a suffocating defense. We saw just how suffocating that defense can be when we saw the Celtics face off against the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, they made Kevin Durant's life a living nightmare, right? They have guys like Marcus Smart, Al Horford, Jaylen Brown on their team, very good perimeter defensive guys, right? Marcus Smart made life a living nightmare for Kevin Durant. He made Kevin Durant feel uncomfortable. Kevin Durant wasn't able to get the shots that he wanted. Kevin was flustered, right? And then in the paint down low, you have a guy like Al Horford, who isn't very tall, but he's very smart, right? Al Horford, because of his IQ, I mean, he's only 6'9", because of his basketball IQ, is able, right, to be a presence in terms of defending the rim that I haven't seen from anybody else. He gave Giannis issues at the rim, right? He gave Kevin issues at the rim, right? And the rest of the Boston Celtics team made Kyrie Irving completely useless, and that's why they were able to sweep the Brooklyn Nets. that team is the best defensive team out of the two teams, right? So that's an advantage that they have. Another factor I'm looking forward to that's going to determine who wins the series is rebounding, right? I'm looking forward to the rebound battles that's going to be between Al Horford and Kevon Looney. Listen, in the last series against the Mavericks, Kevon really stepped up. He was putting up double-digit rebounds for the Warriors, and Steve Kerr had no choice but to put him in a death lineup, right? Because had he not put him in a death lineup, Mavericks would have killed him on the defensive boards, but Kevon stepped up, right? And then on the other hand, Al Horford, really good at rebounding, both offensively and defensively. I'm looking forward to those battles. I expect whoever dominates the glass is going to dominate this series. But yes, that is an advantage that the Boston Celtics have. They are more defensively capable than the Warriors are. I mean, the Warriors aren't slacking. They got guys, Gary Payton II, right? They got guys like Klay Thompson. They got guys like Andrew Wiggins. But overall, in my opinion, the Boston Celtics are better defensively than the Warriors are. And now let's move on to the next aspect that's going to determine this game: star power. Listen, every team that has won the championship dating back all the way to 2004, right, excluding the 2004 Detroit Pistons, are the only team to do this, and that is to win a championship without a definitive star. So every team besides them has had a definitive star on their team, right? And that is going to play a role. Stars win championship, and this series doesn't have a shortage of superstars at all. Obviously, the Warriors are loaded to the brim in terms of star power. Warriors have a superstar in Steph Curry, and we know what Steph brings to a team, right? We know how lethal and deadly Steph Curry can be. And then we know who his brethren, right, his fellow light skin, Klay Thompson, we know his star power, what he brings, right? People wrote off Andrew Wiggins. He revived he showed you why he was the #1 pick in the draft, right? All these guys on the same team, right? But the thing is, the finals haven't been completely kind to Stephen Curry. I mean, that's why he's never won the finals MVP, right? So this hasn't been his best stage, right? He doesn't tend to come up big in this stage. But Golden State, I'm still gonna have to give it to them. But the Boston Celtics too have a star in their hand, right? They have an emerging superstar in Jayson Tatum, and he just punched his ticket and made his way into club superstar when he outperformed both Kevin Durant and Giannis Antetokounmpo in the same postseason. That was his rite of passage into club superstar, and I expect him to have his fingerprints all over this series, right? With his co-star Jaylen Brown. So I'm expecting a good matchup from both teams, because both of them have stars on their team. But I'm gonna have to give it to Golden State because they are loaded to the brim, right? Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, right? All stars. And now Jordan Poole. I mean, only Golden State could have 4 all-stars on their team in the finals. I mean, you gotta tip your hat off to that front office. So in my opinion, Golden State takes the cake when it comes to star power. Now let's move on to another thing, right? Experience. Need I say more when it comes to experience? Golden State again takes the cake, right? Golden State has so much experience under its belt, right? I saw a stat that said players on the Boston Celtics have a combined 0 games played in the finals, while compared to the Warriors have 123 combined, all of them. How many games have all played together, right? So Golden State has Boston washed in terms of experience. Even I'm going to talk about the experience between the coaches. I mean, Steve Kerr has been here multiple times, right? Multiple times. And the Celtics' new head coach, he's never been here before. This is his first year coaching even, right? So Golden State has to take the cake, right? Golden State, this is their 6th finals in 8 years, and Boston Celtics haven't been here in 10 years. So Golden State takes the cake, and I'm going to have to give them that advantage. And because of all those advantages that I just gave to Golden State, I'm going to have to pick the Warriors to win this series in 6 games. Yes, you heard that right. Warriors in 6. It's going to be a good series, but I expect the Warriors to come out on top, right? I'm sorry, Boston fans. This just isn't your year yet, right? So it took you guys a few tries to win the East. It's going to take you a few tries to win the championship. But yes, those are just my thoughts. Those are my predictions. Guys, if you like this kind of content, this is the channel for you. This has been League Talk. My name is Emmanuel Camia. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Drop a like for the algorithm, and click here to watch how Kyrie Irving might end up on the Lakers this offseason. And until next time, kids.